Hey, everybody, it's episode 4 of Antler Up. Thomas Costigan, let's go.
Antler Up, Edmonton. The Elks are on the board. There it is. Antler Up, Edmonton. Touchdown, Elks.
Cornelius will throw to the outside to Shai Ross. At the 10, to the 5. Antler Up, Edmonton. Touchdown, Elks.
Thomas Costigan joins us now. Hey, Thomas, thanks for spending some time with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You are the second winner of the Joey Moss Award, which is an award that began last year at Elks training camp for perseverance and dedication through training camp. Give me your thoughts on that. I know you never got to meet Joey, but give me your thoughts on winning that award.
Yeah, definitely. It means a lot just to have the coaches view me in a way like that, and to hear as many good things I've heard about Joey Moss is incredible. And even look at the person who won it last year. Jalen Rose won it, and he had the huge spinal injury, and he had a lot of perseverance to come back from that. And to be the second winner is incredible.
Like you said, you never got to meet Joey, but you've heard about the legacy, I'm sure.
Of course.
What are some of the stories you've heard?
Oh, what haven't I heard? I've mentioned this many times, but Matt O'Donnell brought up talked for a good while last year when the award was given out. And we played the video that we played this year as well. And he got really heartfelt about that message he was sending to the rest of the team. And it kind of helped everyone in the team buy in a little bit more and really appreciate who he was. And even seeing videos of random interactions on the sideline and on the field, and seeing how happy he was, and seeing how happy the people interacting with him were just joking. And it looked like a good time, and always a good person to have in an environment where you're winning and losing and people are getting cut and things like that.
Pretty sweet belt, too.
Oh, my God. That's amazing. I couldn't believe how heavy it would be.
Yeah. Okay, so the award is for dedication and perseverance. Tell me about your training camp.
Yeah, training camp was fun. I had a lot of fun, honestly. I was able to relax, play stress-free, kind of get the hang of the new coaches and the GMs, and not be so stressed about the things that come with being a rookie, you know. It's a real stressful time when you're a rookie, so this year I was able to have a lot more fun and, do what I was asked to do.
I imagine year 2 is not easier, but just so different from year 1, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just having a sense, like having played in the CFL and playing the Canadian game and having that comfortability is incredible, honestly, because rookie, especially with the COVID, because I was signed before COVID, so coming in, I was stressed out because I put all my eggs in one basket, you know. So this year, being able to have the trust and confidence in myself that I didn't have in year 1 was crucial.
What did you know about the CFL before you came?
You know, it's funny. I've always watched playoff games. I knew nothing about CFL, like the rules of the game. But like growing up, it'd be on ESPN and the playoffs, and my season would be over in high school by then. So I was like, okay, I'll watch some football when other football or the NFL football isn't on. And everyone flying around, like I know everyone probably talks about this, but the receivers moving before the line and the E-line being like yard off the ball, I was like, I don't know what's going on. But even my family, they say the same things I used to think. You know, they ask me like, why does this happen? Why does that happen? I have to explain it to them. But it's an incredible game, honestly, when you really get to learn it. And I don't think you really get a chance to learn it just by watching it that well. I mean, being in camp last year, your head's kind of flying and you're like asking someone to explain the rule to you, but you don't want to seem like the newbie that doesn't really know what's going on, you know? So being able to play it helps you learn it a lot quicker, and you really start to appreciate the game more.
There was a D lineman here probably about 7 or 8 years ago. I won't say his name. I doing an interview with him after just before his first practice, actually. And we said, well, what do you think about being a yard off the ball? And he's like, what do you mean? And I go, you don't line up head to head. You're a yard back. He goes, what? And he didn't understand it, and he couldn't grasp it. That is tough for a D lineman, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's hilarious because I feel like there's a lot of D linemen that come in and probably learn it the first day of camp. And even guys like even halfway through camp, you'll see guys that line up on the ball, and then you'll see them adjust like before the ball snap because they start to come to their senses and realize that they have to get a yard off the ball. Last year, this is a funny story. I'm not going to say who it was because it's pretty embarrassing. We're at the end of camp, and another D lineman, we're doing a special teams period right out here, and he's looking down, and he's like, wait, hold up. Why are there 250s? And I lost it. Like, we're at the end of camp. We're 3-4 weeks in, and he says this, and I could not stop laughing. I won't say his name because it's embarrassing, but it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh man, that's beautiful. There are a lot of nuances to get used to, eh?
Yeah.
What's the toughest? Obviously, I guess a yard off the line is big, but other than that, what's the toughest thing that you've had to get used to?
Yeah, I'd say a yard off the ball and special teams is probably the worst. Just no yards is huge. That is so tough because in down south, just being able to, like, you know, people are like the play of basically smacking a punt returner as soon as they catch the ball, if they don't make a fair catch, is just such a well-known play, and like everyone wants to make that play. So being on special teams and having to like pull up is a lot different. The Rouge is confusing for a while. I think that takes a while to get used to. 20-yard end zone, the I don't know. I guess all of it adds up, really.
It is. It's that's, I guess, what makes it a great game, right? When
Yeah.
when you throw that all together, it just makes it so much better. I don't know, better, but different and more exciting. Right?
Yeah, it makes it more like chess, and I'd say down south is more like checkers. You know what I mean? It's
That's,
a little bit
you know
more.
what? That's I've heard a general manager say that before too.
Yeah, really,
that,
that's funny.
that this game is a lot like chess,
Yeah,
while the NFL
yeah.
is like playing checkers for sure.
Absolutely.
Did you get any NFL looks when you came out of college before you
Yeah.
ended up coming up north?
Yeah, I signed with the Chargers coming out of college, and so I played linebacker in college, and then that was my first transition to defensive line.
I was going to say you're kind of you got good size, but you're not huge like NFL D
Yeah.
lineman, right? So you're
Yeah.
kind of up here. They kind of call them tweeners,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
could be a linebacker, you could be a D lineman. You're athletic, so obviously that helps you play that role of a D lineman.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was ruled a tweener coming out of college. Even I wanted to actually try to play some D-line in college, but my defense coordinator was like, who's going to play linebacker? So I had to stick with playing linebacker. And so what I would do is on third down in U.S. football, third and long is like a passing situation. We put in a nickel package, and I would rush the passer on that. But that was like the only chance I really got to come off the edge. But then I was hoping to make the switch to like a 3-4 outside linebacker. And then the Chargers called and they asked, they talked about me playing like a stand-up defensive end, and that's exactly what I wanted to play.
So did you get to camp or a mini camp?
Yeah, I was in rookie mini camp, and then I went to camp, and I got cut at the end of camp.
Yeah, it's, tell me about that experience. What's it like? I mean, you grow up in the States. You grow up wanting to play. If you're a football player, you want to play in the NFL.
Yeah.
To get to a camp, what was it like for you?
It was crazy, honestly. Like, being an undrafted guy, you don't have – obviously you have confidence in yourself, but, like, going into it, I don't think you understand, like, how big the situation really is. Like, being able to see, like, all the guys, like the actual starters and the guys that are making so many millions, you know. Being able to see them in the same locker room, and I think that is honestly like a life-changing experience. And then being able to learn from those guys, seeing how good they are at their technique. You know, coming out, this is funny. Coming out of college, I thought Joey Bosa was just like a big meathead kind of guy that just ran over tackles, you know. Like, but then playing with him in camp, I saw how technically sound he was, and I actually learned like a double swipe. That's where I got my double swipe from. Just like watching him practice it every day. So, just being able to learn from those guys was a really big experience for me, coming from linebacker to D end.
And the odds going in as an undrafted guy, the odds are stacked against you in the NFL, right? Because they love their draft picks, right? And that's
absolutely.
the guys. You got to be really good. You
Yeah.
got to really outdo somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another experience all on its own to be undrafted, but at the same time, there's more undrafted guys in the NFL than there are drafted guys. So, on active rosters. So, I mean, I think everyone like coming out of college, like you're just like, I'm gonna be that guy. You know what I mean? I think everyone's like that. And then when you end up not being that guy, you have to start thinking more about football, and I don't know, seeing who you are as a player. I think that was a good experience for me to look at myself in the mirror, see what I do well, see what I don't do well, especially with COVID coming after that. So I had a whole almost 2 years of not playing football. So I was able to really watch a lot of film myself and guys in the pros and see what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong, and kind of compare and contrast, you know.
In my business, we do what we call air checks, and you listen to yourself and you watch yourself performing. I imagine it's the same for football.
Yeah.
It's got to be tough, I would think, to sit there and critique yourself as you're watching yourself play the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think at this point, I critique myself more than anything else. Like, I might win a rep, and I'll be like, that was still a little off. That wouldn't work against, say, so-and-so I'm going up against this week. So, like, it becomes a real mind game, I'd say. Even for talking to yourself. I listen to videos of myself talking. I'm like, oh, my God. It makes me stress out. But so I can only imagine. It's probably very similar, honestly.
What's your film schedule like? How much video do you watch?
I like to watch a lot of film, but I got to be in the mood for it. Like there's times where I'll sit down for a couple hours straight and just be on my phone, and then my phone will die, and I'll be like, what time is it? And get lost. And there's times where I'm like, all right, I need a couple hours where I can't think about football because I'm like starting to see myself and my reps and starting to stress and critique myself too much, So it has its ups and downs throughout the week.
First year last year, were you on the Elks? Do you know if you're on the Elks neg list, or were you a CFL free agent when you came into the league?
I was a CFL free agent.
So did you get offers from other teams? Were you talking to a couple of teams?
No, I mean, my agent took care of that, but the only team he told me was the Elks.
Yeah.
The Eskimos at the time.
Yeah, and it turned out all right so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was just happy to get an opportunity,
You made your debut last year in Week 1 against Ottawa. What do you remember about that game more than anything?
Oh my God, that game, I didn't play one single defensive snap. And I was more tired in that game than I've ever been in my life.
Because you're on special teams, right?
I was on every special team. And that game, if you remember, was straight defense. So it was 2 and out, 2 and out, 2 and out, 2 and out punt, 2 and out punt return, 2 and out punt return, punt, 2 and out punt return. And I was like, it brings me back to high school because I played on offense and defense in high school. So that was really tiring. And I had really bad like cramps, and I'd become like get dehydrated and I get full body cramps and throw up and all that stuff. Sorry to say that on TV, but and so it brings me back to that. I was sitting there and I was like, I am dying. Like I got the Gatorade salt packs, the Gatorade, the water, like ice on my neck, and I didn't play one defensive snap. That was a great intro to Canadian football.
I guess that's the one thing we talked about, things that are different in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah.
The one thing we didn't mention is the 20-second time clock.
Yeah.
Right? Which is a big difference for guys.
Yeah. Honestly, that should have been my answer because that was.
You want to rewind the tape? And
No, but that was a smack in the face. Honestly, I was like, holy crap! I can't even imagine if I was playing defense. And then I played some defensive snaps the next week, and I wasn't on as many special teams. And I was. Since then, honestly, I haven't even been as tired as that.
Yeah. The next week, you got 3 tackles and a sack. So you obviously fit in on the defense quite nicely.
Yeah, it was. That was a good.
That was a horrible game, as I recall.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. That. I don't even know how to describe it, honestly. But yeah, that week, I was just happy to be trusted enough to be thrown in on defense. Honestly, I got a lucky sack that was just like a game. But just to get in there, and I think that game helped a lot with Thorpe trusting me and Maxie trusting me, and they were able to give me the go the next week when Quaker was out with the COVID.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the thing. So you're a raw rookie. You're coming up to the Canadian Football League for the first time. Your first game, you don't play a defensive snap.
Yeah.
Your second game, you get in, you get 3 tackles and a sack. Third game, you're starting. Quaker went down with COVID, I believe, and third game you're starting, and you made the most of that. Even better numbers, right? I think 4 tackles in that game, right?
Yeah, that was against
and
BC.
Another sack, right?
Yeah, that was definitely. I think the second game gave me the confidence to that just showed I could play in this league and trust myself. And then when I heard Quaker was going down, they gave me the start. I was excited, and I had the confidence then that I don't know I would have had if I didn't have if I didn't get those snaps in week 2.
Yeah. You've played a little inside and outside, right, on the D-line?
Yeah. I played, like, this year I played some 4-eye, and last year I had to play some D-tackle in some interesting spots. One game we had a couple guys go down, and it was at the end of the game, but I had to go in, and I was playing, like, one technique.
Preferences outside, though, right?
Oh,
Defensive end?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Coming off the edge.
Yeah, that's a sexy spot, right?
That's the
quarterback.
fun. Yep.
Get the quarterback do a dance, right?
Exactly. Yeah, do dance. Yep. You're right about that.
Have you got a dance? Like, do you choreograph that?
So, I grew up in an Irish family. All four of my grandparents from Ireland, and my dad's from Ireland. So all like the girls in my family, I grew up Irish dancing, and I used to just mess around and like watch them Irish dance, and like sometimes make fun of them, sometimes just mimic them and do it with them. And I never did that before I came up here, honestly. And I was talking to my cousins, and they were like, "You should do an Irish dance," and I was like, "You know what? That's a great idea." So if you can't tell, I'm sure a lot of people can't really tell what I'm doing out there, but it's an attempt at an Irish dance.
All right, we'll watch for it from now on. All right, we're going to talk about Bryant University and growing up in Stamford, Connecticut when we come back with more with Thomas Costigan. Well, we all know what happened last Saturday night in Vancouver. Do I need to repeat the score? I don't think that's necessary. Elks lose to the Lions 0-1 going into their home opener tomorrow against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. A chance for everybody to turn the page. A lot of things went wrong last week in Vancouver, but some things did go right as well. Some good performances from Sergio Castillo, Jalen Marshall, Darrell Walker, and Kenny Lawler, both good in the receiving corps. So there were some things to build on, and I know the team has been hard at work all week at practice getting set for tomorrow night. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are in town. It's always a great atmosphere when the Riders are here because there will be a few Rider fans in the stands. You can join them as well to cheer for the green and gold. The tickets available through Ticketmaster. You can head to goelks.com for all the information about the game tomorrow night. It's on TSN as well. You can also hear it with myself tomorrow night at 6 o'clock for the pregame show, 7:30 for the game itself. On 6:30, Ched, the Elks and the Saskatchewan Roughriders in what will be an entertaining evening, we hope, and the home opener for the Edmonton Elks. Back with Elks defensive end Thomas Costigan. Thomas, Bryant University, where is that?
Rhode Island, Smithfield, Rhode Island.
How'd you get there?
My only offer.
Really?
Yeah, coming out of high school, I played at a school called Trinity Catholic in high school, and that's right in my hometown of Stamford, Connecticut. And we went 0-11 my junior year. And surprisingly enough, teams don't really like it if you come from a bad team. So I actually accidentally went to Bryant University's camp. You know how colleges have camps.
What do you mean accidentally?
So I wasn't planning on going. Honestly, I was getting recruited by some bigger schools, and I was planning on going. I went to Temple and UConn and like BC's camp, and I wasn't planning on going to Bryant's camp. And my coach was going. He was bringing a younger guy, and he was like, "You're not doing anything. You might as well come." And I went, and I got my offer like 2 days later, and it all worked out. I'm glad I went to that camp. And yeah, I enjoyed my time in Smithfield.
When did you meet Jake Serezna?
So this is funny. So my high school coach, his name is Coach Stevens. He played at Southern Connecticut State. So Jake played at Southern Connecticut State for like 1 year. And so I guess he found out about this guy, Ike, who also played at – sorry, this is a long background story. Found out about this guy, Ike, who also played at Southern Connecticut State. My high school coach, my high school linebacker coach, Coach Stevens, and Ike played together at Southern. So Ike went to the NFL, played D-line in the NFL, and now he coaches like pass rush and that kind of thing. So I knew Ike through my coach, and I guess Jake knew him through the Southern Connecticut State group. And so Jake started training with him. I knew him from my coach, and then I saw he started posting on Instagram, and I was like, Jake Serezna, and I looked it up, and I saw that he was on the Elks, and I was like, oh, snap. And then I planned on starting to work out there anyway, like as we got closer to the season after COVID. And then like I followed Ike on Instagram, and then I started going to the train there, and that's where I met Jake at Ike's when I was already signed for the Elks.
So you're both signed for the Elks, and you just had that kind of casual meeting, and then you're training together all of a sudden, and then you're playing together like side by side.
Yeah, it's been funny, honestly. It's been a fun ride. He's been able to give me a lot of tips and pointers and that have been really helpful, so it's been good.
I've been to Stamford, Connecticut once, as what I recall, pretty nice town.
It's
a pretty nice place to grow up, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What's it like?
We got the best of everything. We got we're right on the water, so it's Long Island Sound, so it's not the prettiest water, but there is a beach and water, so so you're able to go on a boat if you want to. We have a nice city life, I'd say, and then we also have like the suburbs, and it's a good, nice combination of everything. big city, I'd say. Not like Edmonton, but in Connecticut, I'd say it's a big city, and we had a lot of high schools growing up, and there was a lot of competition in sports. Yeah, I mean, that's where all my grandparents decided to come to. I don't know why, but they must have liked it. So,
Yeah. It's known, I guess, for a lot of people for being the WWE headquarters is there, right?
yeah.
And I understand you got a connection.
I do indeed. Yeah, so I actually grew up. That's been there forever, and they always had the flag, and it's a beautiful building, and I've never been in it or anything like that. And then my girlfriend Amy just started working there this past year as a data analyst. So.
Oh, so you got contacts.
Yeah, I'll be going to some matches soon.
They're coming here in September, so
I've heard.
I might be hitting you up.
Oh yeah, I got the tickets.
Excellent, nice. You a wrestling fan?
Yeah, I mean, so I grew up. I loved it. I was a big John Cena fan. A lot of guys, honestly. I had some action figures growing up, and then I feel like what most people do, they kind of like fade away from it. And then she has to watch it because she does a lot of like social media stuff, like analyzing what people think on social media. So she has to watch just to keep up, keep on top of what's going on, like who is who and everything. So she's watching it Friday Night SmackDown and Monday Night Raw, and she's watching it all the time. So it makes me watch it, and I'm like, at first I was like, yeah, that fake stuff, like whatever. Like I'd rather watch UFC. And then as she watching it more and more, I'm like getting into the whole background, and I'm like, you know what? I'll sit down and watch this with you, you know. So it brings back childhood memories, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And the Joey Moss belt, that's a nice touch too. That's
all ties in together, right?
All ties in together. What did mom and dad do in Stanford?
Yeah, so my dad owns an excavation company, and his dad did the same thing. My grandpa came from Ireland, and he came from a farming background. So then he came to the U.S., and he always wanted an excavator, and got into it when he got here and was able to find work. He actually came here and told the family they were going to come here for 2 weeks, and they've been here ever since. So
Wow.
That's funny. And then my mom, she doesn't work anymore, but she was she worked at a retirement home for a long time, and yeah, now.
I googled it up today. New York City is less than an hour away from where you grew up. Was that as a teenager or as a kid growing up? Is that let's go to the city? Was it?
Oh yeah.
Was that big deal?
Yeah, we still go to the city every Christmas time, like probably like the 20th, but before Christmas. See like a Broadway show and stuff. Yeah, it's like a 45 minute train ride, which is nothing. And even now, like go to a baseball game, a football game, ride the train, stay in an Airbnb, you know. So it's it's nice having it there. I would never want to live there. I would hate to live in the city. I think it's way too packed. I like land and everything, but a lot of my friends end up working there and living there, and they like it. But
It's a great place to visit, though.
yeah, great place to visit. That's what I would say.
All right, we don't usually on Antler Up. We don't usually talk too much about current situations, but I got to ask you, tough debut for this football team in Vancouver last week. As you move ahead to game number 2 here against Saskatchewan, just tell me about getting over that, because it's got to be difficult, because a lot of things went wrong for you guys, especially defensively. Talk about getting over that and getting back on track in only a week's time.
Yeah, I mean, BC did a great job. I think they found any flaw that we did have, you know. And I think a lot of that stuff is our own problem. I think we forced a lot of those errors and basically gave them a lot of plays. But like I said, they did a great job of finding our weaknesses and really showing them to us more than anything. I think even in preseason and going up against yourself, obviously your offense isn't trying to find your weak points, but we had countless errors on just simple things that I think in camp you kind of just negate to realize because they're not pointed out to you, and then when you get to a real game, they become quite obvious. And so I think we're able to look at those things that honestly are what I would consider a lot of small issues and fix them and get over that hump, because I think that we're a much better team than we put out there to be. And I think that once we fix those small errors, I think we will actually be able to compete. I don't think that game is a true reflection of who we are as a team.
if you're going to hit rock bottom, it's good to do it in week 1. Right? Nowhere to go but up from here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's it been like with Chris Jones for you? Had you heard much about him coming into the season?
You know, it's funny. I don't hear last year. I didn't hear that much about a lot of coaches, but I heard about Chris Jones. And even though he wasn't in the league, and then he was with Toronto and stuff like that, his name popped around, and guys like playing for him. Like,
Yep.
if you have a good thing to say about someone, obviously you're going to say it more so than if you just felt whatever about someone. So, like, I think that points to who he is. I think players like to play for him. I think that he's going to turn this defense around. I think that he's going to find the mistakes, and he's a great football mind. I honestly don't think I've been around a DC that talks great scheme like so easily. I think everyone, like most DCs, are kind of, I don't want to say cocky, but like they they act like they know defense a lot. And I think he's like ego doesn't play a big part in who he is. So I think that he is just talking defensive scheme so like fluently, and you're like, damn, that's a great point. And he just says it like it just coming out like nothing, honestly. And I think that's great to have in a coach, first of all, but especially a head coach. You know, I never, like I said before, but I never had a defensive coach as a head coach, and it's good to have one. Hopefully, we'll be able to turn it around.
Can you do the accent?
The Irish or his,
no, his
Chris
accent.
Jones accent.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, I can't do that. I can, but I feel like that's inappropriate.
I heard guys do it, though. Somebody told me there's a couple of guys who do it pretty good. I got James Wilder to do it for me earlier this year, and yeah, it was okay. He had the language now, but not quite the twang to it. But it's a great. I love listening to him talk. It's just because it's the accent, the passion, the knowledge is all there. I just love listening to him talk.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to try to do it. But yeah, I think that's hilarious that, of course, Wilder would be the one to try it. But yeah, no, I think that it is very interesting because I'm not from the South. Not many people in the team are from the South like that. And to hear it is just entertaining in itself. At first, you're like, that's all you find yourself listening to.
All right, 3 more for you. We're going to the red zone now to wrap things up. First CFL game you ever saw. Do you remember it?
No. I watched a Grey Cup, but I want to say it was, I think it was the 2014 Grey Cup. I don't have much to say about it, though. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Most memorable football game you've ever been a part of. That's watching, playing, and it doesn't have to be pro. It can be anything. What comes up?
Yeah. My sophomore year of high school, I wasn't even a starter, but we played against New Canaan. It's a big team by me that we hate, but and they're supposed to be like the great team in our area, and we had great leaders that year. I loved playing for the seniors when I was a sophomore in high school, and we're a small school compared to any other school that we play, so we have maybe 40 guys on our varsity team, where every other team is 100, 150. And our starting QB got hurt, and we still won the game, and it was an incredible game. We won in overtime, and it was the most fun game I've been a part of. And I was only on special teams. I think I got a few defensive snaps. I was playing safety at the time. But it was a lot of fun. Just the guys in our locker room were great guys and had great character, and they were great leaders, and they were fun to play for. And to win a game like that was probably the biggest win in my school's history. And it was just a lot of fun to be a part of.
I love a good underdog story.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, last one for you. And you're the first one. I'm changing it this week. Episode 4, I'm changing the final question in the red zone. I want to know most famous name in your phone.
Most famous name in my phone. Oh, my gosh. Most famous name in my phone. I don't have a lot of famous friends. I'll go with my buddy Drew. My buddy Drew works for the Kings of Leon, and I think that's fun. Yeah, he's the assistant manager, so I think that's pretty famous.
Just making a note to myself now to talk to Thomas Costigan next time the Kings of Leon come to town, and next time the WWE comes
Maybe
to
I
town.
do have some famous people.
Excellent. Thomas, thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it. It's been
Thank
great
you
talking
very
to you
much.
and learning a little bit about you. Don't forget, go back in the archives. Last week we had Aaron Grimes. Week before that, it was Trey Ford. The week before that, we kicked it off with Chris Jones, the head coach and general manager. So go back and have a look or have a listen to those episodes of Antler Up. Don't forget to subscribe, like, send a comment if you like as well about what you'd like to see in the future. He's Thomas Costigan. I'm Morley Scott. We'll catch you next week on Antler Up.
Antler Up, Edmonton. Touchdown, Elks. James Wilder Jr.'s got a pair. Oh, he's got a man wide open. Mike Jones has it inside the 10. He'll walk the dog to the end zone. Antler Up, Edmonton. Touchdown, Elks.